Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the weekly landscape update video that I will do in April, May, and June this year as I hopefully make big progress on this landscape project I have going on in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B. This is about 2/10 of an acre. It's going to be very detailed by the time I finish. I've started on some fence work in the front yard. There's going to be stone work coming here in the next week or two. Fence work will be going on in the back soon after that. Lots and lots of progress, I hope, over the next 3 months. There's a playlist on my channel called New House that I'll link up here in the corner. When I started this project a year ago, there were only like 40,000 subscribers on the channel. So many of you have joined the channel since then and may not know how far this has actually come. So you can go back through that playlist, maybe watch the first couple, and you'll see how far this project has actually moved forward in the time that I've been working on it, including screen porch and shed and, you know, even interior stuff that I've never shown. I've remodeled a bathroom and all kinds of things. Again, the channel growth has been amazing over the last year, and I got my silver play button from YouTube. It was a little late coming. They didn't send me the code initially, so I had to ask for it. And now the channel's at 119,000 subscribers. And since I could only subscribe to my channel one time, the other 99,999 are you guys watching the videos. So thank you guys for participating in the channel, asking questions and making comments and liking the videos, because that's what makes YouTube recommend them to other people and how the channel has grown. Again, thanks for your participation. So I'm going to get started this week with this first weekly video for this year and just show you some interesting things that are in bloom in the yard and some other projects that I've just gotten started on. So starting out here in the front, I've put these 4x4s in the last, actually yesterday. They're different heights, but they're going to be cut down to similar sizes. I had some extra 4x4s laying around, and so that's the reason they're different heights, but I'm going to get them cut down to the same size today or tomorrow. This actually is going to be an entrance that leads you to the front door. This part of that turf with that straight line is going to end up as a stone path to lead to the front door. That door has been purple. For those of you who have been following the channel, it is now white. The whole front of the house will eventually be blue like the backyard. I have one issue going on is I put hardy plank. This is aluminum siding, this green on the front. I put hardy plank on the back last year as part of that project and painted it the blue color that the whole house is going to be. This spring, lumber is about 2 to 3 times more than it was last year. So I'm probably going to hold off a few months and see if there's any kind of any kind of relaxation in the price of lumber before I pull this aluminum off and finish the siding project that I have going on. Even this fencing, this little low fencing project that I'm doing out here, by the road, lumber's just gone outrageous. An 8-foot 2x4 is $8 and something now, where it was, $3 or $2 something, a year ago. It's kind of incredible. But with that information, you'll know why the front of the house is green and the back of the house is blue. That will change. My pansies really came on here after flooding rains, absolute flooding rains all winter long. They're finally looking good. This side of the driveway over here is going to have some paneled fencing on it as well. Daffodils have bloomed out. Blueberries, I'll show you blueberries right here. These plants are loaded with blueberries. This little brick wall that's on the edge of the property is coming down. I started to take it down yesterday when I put that first 4x4 in. But that wall is coming down. This has been a mystery since I moved here. This driveway holds lots of water, which was supposed to have this little cutout where it ran, where the water runs off the driveway. But somebody built a brick wall there that dams the water up. But anyway, that brick wall is finally in the process of coming out. It's been a project on the list for a long time. So looking here across the front yard, let's find some interesting things to take a look at. First of all, this Peruvian Scilla right here is just off the chains. These are actually zone 8 bulbs, and I'm in 7B technically, but here in the city of Raleigh, these will be perennial for me. Tulips that are blooming. Of course, I'm shooting this early in the morning, so they're closed up. they'll open up here and take on some of that sun this afternoon. The other pansies that I have further up here, these yellow ones, have recovered somewhat. There are holes in it. I wish this was full, but it's just not. The rain this winter was definitely an issue. Snapdragons are finally getting started. Those are so budded up. That is going to be nothing but color when you see this next week. A few of them are in this container. You can see how bright and cheery these are. And pansies in that container as well. Another thing I've talked about is there's going to be a porch going all the way across the front of this house. In the meantime, these azaleas are here, and whoever had originally planted these, that's coral bells for sure. I can always tell that one. I don't know what that red one is. Likely that white one is Delaware Valley white. There's another one of those right there. This container's turned out really, really nicely with that heuchera and that yellow pansy and that carex grass right there. And then I tree formed that gold mop cypress. Anyway, that's Delaware Valley white. And if we continue across this porch, what's getting bright quick, you see more of these really wildly mixed azaleas. One right here is super late flowering. Apparently, I don't know what variety it is. I know it was red last year, but I don't know what variety it is. And then there's another coral bells, my long shadow with the sun coming up. Another coral bell azalea there. But these azaleas are beautiful. They are. I'm going to cut them back hard and dig them out and give them away. Those walls are coming out. And then I'm going to do some sort of temporary planting along the front of this house until I do the front porch that's eventually going to go in on it. These tulips right here, get my shadow out of here now, are called Bud Light. This yellow and white, I hope this shows up really well. These open up in the afternoon, just completely wide open. Beautiful tulips, another mixed group of pansies here. And I'm putting in 3 fence panels, low fence panels on this property edge over here, but I'm leaving that little gap right there for the postman. I got a walking postal route to get out of there, and a path that leads through there that will be stone very soon. Let's see, I've got anemones blooming down here that are interesting. Flowers are kind of closed up again in the early morning. There's some purple and there's some white ones right there. Some red tulips that are just getting started. I think by next week they'll be putting on a big show. What else is interesting out here right this second? I'll show you this hellebore that I got from Pine Knot. I may have shown this a couple weeks ago, but this one's been blooming a long time. Nice double. So let's go in the backyard and take a look at some interesting things back there. So actually, before I move to the backyard, I should show you how the trees are doing in the front yard. The Serviceberry is blooming. Had a couple flowers on it down lower initially, and the fruit has set. I imagine the birds will get these first few. I'm not going to do much to protect 9 fruits, but the Serviceberry tree is waking back up in the center of the right side of the front door bed. The crossing the lawn, the grass is starting to wake up. We had a frost last week. I got a couple things with a little bit of frost damage, but not much. But it did set the grass back. It was actually more awake a week ago than it is now. The dogwood here, the Empress of China dogwood, is just beautiful, and it is about to explode with flowers. This thing is going to be 100% white. One of these weekly updates, this tree is going to be solid white ball, but it's looking good, and it's going to be right behind this little fence panel that I'm putting in. So it's going to come up over that fence, and then on the other side of it, out by the road here, will be all full sun perennial flowers. And one other thing that I'm going to show before I move to the backyard is I've got this Korean lilac that's about to open up. It's gotten pretty big, so I think I got to get the size under control. This is a Miss Kim lilac that was here when I moved in. And I think I'm gonna get the size, I'm gonna cut it down pretty hard after it blooms this time. And I am gonna keep it here because it is happy. It's about to bloom. Those of you who aren't familiar with Korean lilacs, they're more heat tolerant, and so we can grow them in the south. They require less chill hours. The fragrance isn't quite as good, for sure. It's just not. So let's move to the backyard. Coming into the gate on the south side of the house, I'm under a red bud that has just finished flowering. I don't often show that tree, but it's one tree that I did keep when I was making other decisions. Let me show you the pollen situation that's going on right now. You see this Weigelia right here? It's completely covered in yellow. This is pine pollen. We had the oak pollen a couple weeks ago, but this is what pine pollen looks like in the south on that black foliage Weigelia. It really shows up. This butterfly bush, same thing. You can see the yellow all over it. It's kind of a crazy time of year here in North Carolina and throughout the southeast where the pine pollen is so bad. The sunshine ligustrum is really showing off. I always get a question about how old this is. There's nothing in this yard except for, you know, I showed you that lilac and that just red bud above my head, and that Loropetalum was here. Everything else has been newly planted in the last year, so that is a very, very new plant. It was planted with some compost. It was fertilized last spring, and I've pruned it a couple times. So it's like in that spot. The Osmanthus fragrans right next to it is still blooming. Been blooming since October. Super fragrant. This Loropetalum is called Carolina Midnight. If anybody, everybody always asks what variety this is. The Red Diamond is probably the closest one to it. If you can't find Carolina Midnight, Red Diamond would definitely work. In its place, my Bonfire Encore Azalea is about to absolutely explode in that container. And my Fire Encore Azalea is just starting to open as well. Well, those are more open, but there's still lots of buds to go on them. Here's a hydrangea that got a little bit of damage on it from the frost, which is kind of surprising. It was just such a random group of plants. This is one I'm super excited about. This is a Miss Scarlett Illicium, just starting to bloom. You can see why it's called Miss Scarlett. The interesting thing about this Illicium is most Illicium kind of eat their flowers, meaning the flowers are kind of on the inside of the plant just a little bit and not as showy. This one was selected. I met the plant breeder while I was down, or the person who found this variety while I was down in Florida recently. And it's, you know, all the flowers are on the outside of it, but that's Miss Scarlett Illicium. There's a gold Weigelia opening up that's budded up to bloom. And just in general, everything is coming back to life. The palm that I put in the container was completely unfazed by the frost we had. I didn't protect it at all. My Japanese maple, my contorted Japanese maple in that container is coming back. The old chain link fence is gone across the back. I have taken it out, and my next fencing project will be the back of this. This is going to be a horizontal fence, so the boards will be sideways on it. And I'm going to come back around here, and this is the blue on the back of the house and the screen porch, you know, that was put in last year. But you can see it's blue hardy plank and very different. So when I finish the front, I'm going to paint the foundation, and you know, just tons of projects to do. This is an 80-year-old house. Another sunshine ligustrum right there. Holly is taking a break, laying in one of the paths right there. This is a dianthus that's, you know, again got flooded out all winter, and it's finally showing up to the party. And I think by the time I show you these again next week, they'll be full flower. Cool season vegetables have absolutely taken off. Frost doesn't do, no problem whatsoever. Of course, on 28, 29, 30 degrees, broccoli, lettuce, kohlrabi is forming. I see it down at the base of those plants. Here are all some of my starts that I've taken out of the house. This is that hibiscus that I had last year in the yard. Lots of dahlias. a tremendous amount of things that are going in the ground here in the next few weeks. That tray of marigolds is just perfect. And I have tons more in the house to still come out. Lots and lots of things going in here in the next few weeks. The Dahlia Jumpstart video that I did, a lot of you have watched. Dahlias are, in fact, coming up. Right there, Liatris is coming up. So they responded well. This is basically a nursery operation I have going on back here that are plants. Some of them are going in the ground here. This tree-formed Indian hawthorn's going in the ground tomorrow, and boy, is that thing fragrant. It's obnoxiously fragrant, actually. And you'll see that video. Here's broccoli in this grow bag. More broccoli I planted a little later in that grow bag. And then one last thing here on updates. For those of you who saw my potato planting, all the potatoes have done great, and I need to get them covered back up today. I will continue to fill these bags until I have them pretty much full of soil, but I just keep burying them about once a week. But you can see how much growth they've put on. The planter box on the front of the shed is looking pretty good. The one on this side over here, I did not water the boxwoods for a little while, and they look a little rough. I think they're salvageable. I'll have to take them out and put them back in pots. But everything out here that I've planted in the last year is looking pretty good. These are peonies that were transplanted last year. That video has a ton of views, so somebody watching this saw that video where I transplanted these peonies to this spot, and a few of them are budded up, ready to start blooming, but I think they all came back, all the ones I transplanted in that video. Here's a dwarf Loropetalum with the white flowers, looking pretty good in bloom right now. Lots to do out here, and I think you're going to see, hopefully you're going to see a big giant transformation. I have so many things to put in the ground. The last thing I'll show you here before I wrap this up is this Golden Falls red bud is just leafing out. It did not get very many flowers this year. There's one right there that you can see, and one right there. Next year it will flower more, but foliage is coming. By next week, this thing will be a big shot of bright yellow in this landscape. So thank you guys very much for watching the video and following along with the progress. And I'll show you update next week. That fence should be finished. I think we'll have stone delivered at that time for some of the stone projects, and several more pieces in the ground. So thanks for watching.